Welcome to Betrayal Stories. In today's video script, listen closely, because what I'm about to share with you is something every man deserves to understand. Something that can protect you emotionally, psychologically, and even spiritually. I'm Coach Jane, and today I'm going to walk you through a reality most men sense but struggle to articulate. Every woman who cheats may act different, speak different, dress different, carry herself differently, but deep beneath the surface, there are three undeniable behaviors that show up with shocking consistency. I've spent years coaching men across different cultures, ages, and backgrounds, from small-town husbands to CEOs, from young boyfriends still learning about relationships to older men who thought they had seen everything life could throw at them. And through all these experiences, can tell you with complete confidence, these three behaviors appear almost every single time. Now, before I dive deeply into the psychology behind each behavior, I want to make something absolutely clear. This is not a video designed to attack women, shame them, or generalize in a hateful way. This is education rooted in emotional patterns that show up during infidelity. My goal is to give you knowledge, clarity, and awareness so you don't walk blind into emotional traps or ignore red flags that could save you years of confusion, stress, or heartbreak. When men are left in the dark, they don't just lose relationships, they lose self-esteem, confidence, stability, and in many cases, their sense of identity. I don't want that for you. You deserve truth, recognition, and insight. Let's begin with the first behavioral shift that almost always reveals itself long before physical cheating even happens. A woman who is mentally or emotionally pulling away begins with subtle avoidance. Emotional distance that creeps in gently but consistently. It doesn't appear aggressive or dramatic at first. It shows up quietly. You start noticing that her replies to your messages aren't as quick as they once were. Instead of her usual long responses or excited voice notes, you start getting short replies. Okay, I'm busy. Later, or sometimes no response at all until hours later. When you ask her how her day was, she answers with minimal interest. When you talk about something that excites you, she nods or smiles politely. But her eyes don't shine the way they used to. At first, you will want to rationalize it. You will tell yourself she's stressed, or she must be tired, or she's going through something, maybe work is overwhelming. And sometimes, yes, those explanations are true. But the difference lies not in isolated incidents. Every human being has off days, but in patterns. A cheating woman doesn't just have a tired day. She becomes consistently distant. The energy she once poured into the relationship begins draining away. And more importantly, that emotional energy gets redirected elsewhere. Avoidance is not just distance. It is emotional preparation. She begins creating a private space in her heart where you don't fully exist anymore. She might still physically share a room with you, but the emotional bond that once tied you two together loosens day by day. You can feel the gap even if she tries to hide it. You can sense the change even if she still laughs or smiles occasionally. Something feels missing. Something feels different. Something feels guarded. I once coached a man whose wife's emotional withdrawal was so subtle yet so powerful that it took him months to finally acknowledge what his intuition had been whispering all along. He told me, "Jane, she still hugged me, still sat next to me, still cooked meals for us. But I felt like I wasn't touching her anymore. Not really. I could put my arms around her, but I wasn't reaching her." That right there is the essence of avoidance during cheating. Physical presence means nothing when the emotional presence disappears. Avoidance also shows up in conversation. She may stop initiating meaningful discussions. She may avoid topics that require vulnerability. She may stop sharing her fears, dreams, and disappointments with you. She becomes harder to access, not physically, but emotionally. And what most men don't realize is that cheating rarely starts with physical intimacy. It begins with emotional displacement. She invests her emotional energy into someone else. She gives her curiosity, her attention, her softness, her vulnerability to another person. That internal shift is the real beginning of betrayal. And let me give you a crucial piece of advice. When you sense avoidance, don't chase. Chasing makes her retreat even faster. When a woman is cheating or considering cheating, she fears emotional confrontation because it threatens her secrecy. If you start begging for affection, asking too many questions, or trying to force conversations, she will perceive it as pressure and use that as fuel to justify further distance. She may start thinking he's needy, or he's overreacting, or he's suffocating me. She reframes your concern as a flaw in you, not as a reflection of her own behavior. Avoidance grows stronger when you chase it. What you should do instead is observe quietly. Awareness gives you power. Silence gives you clarity. Pay attention to the patterns, frequency, consistency, emotional tone, and sudden changes in routine. Don't look at her words. Look at her energy. Energy rarely lies, but avoidance alone doesn't confirm infidelity. It is only the first crack in the foundation. The second behavior is much more revealing and far harder to fake. Defensiveness. Not simple defensiveness, but guilt-driven projection. A cheating woman develops a unique defensive posture that has a very distinct emotional signature. She does not calmly explain herself, nor does she reassure you. Instead, she flips innocent questions into accusations. Ask her why she seems distant, and she'll say, "Why are you being so insecure?" Ask her why she's been on her phone so much lately, and she'll respond, "Why are you monitoring me? Do you not trust me?" Ask her why she canceled plans or didn't reply for hours, and she might snap, "I'm busy. Why do I have to report everything to you?" The key here is that your tone doesn't matter. Even if you ask gently, even if you're simply trying to understand, she reacts sharply. Why? Because guilt has no patience. When someone is emotionally invested in another person, even simple questions feel threatening. She feels exposed. She feels cornered. She feels like you're trying to look behind a curtain she desperately wants to keep closed. So she attacks not because she's angry at you, but because she's defending her own guilt. Let me tell you a story. A man once told me, "Jane, every time I asked my wife if she was okay, she accused me of being controlling. I wasn't trying to control how I was scared. I felt her slipping away." That's the tragedy of defensiveness during infidelity. The man suffers twice. First from the distance, then from the blame. What should be a moment of openness becomes a moment of emotional punishment. Now, here's something most men overlook. A faithful woman naturally reassures when questioned. Even if she's tired or frustrated, she will usually explain or comfort because she knows her loyalty. She has nothing to hide. But a cheating woman will deflect, blame shift, and gaslight. Not because she's inherently manipulative, but because she needs self-preservation. She needs the illusion of moral superiority. Guilt is heavy, and projection helps her lighten the emotional load. When a woman becomes defensively aggressive only in private, but remains perfectly pleasant in public, that pattern becomes even more suspicious. She maintains the external image while hiding emotional dissonance behind closed doors. It's like she's living two separate lives, one she shows to the world and one she hides from you. During defensiveness, she may start comparing you to other men without you noticing the deeper meaning. She might say things like, "Other men don't question their partners like this," or "My coworker understands boundaries better than you," or "Not everyone is as needy as you." These are projections, subtle hints of emotional comparison that you should never ignore. Your response during these moments is critical. Do not argue. Do not defend yourself aggressively. Do not try to catch her. Defensiveness thrives on emotional chaos. If you argue, she will use your reaction as justification for her emotional withdrawal. Instead, remain calm. Stay observant. Your calmness is your shield. Your emotional stillness becomes your clarity. But the third behavior, the final shift, is the most revealing. When a woman reaches this stage, it becomes nearly impossible to overlook the pattern. She starts prioritizing herself above the relationship entirely. Not in a healthy self-care way, but in a way that shows she has emotionally disconnected from the partnership. A cheating woman begins reorganizing her life around her independence, appearance, activities, and personal freedom. She may suddenly spend more time on her makeup, clothes, fitness, or online presence. She may begin posting more selfies or spending more time curating her image. Her schedule becomes less predictable. She makes decisions, small ones and big ones, without consulting you. This stage is not about selfishness. It is about emotional realignment. She is preparing her heart for a life beyond the relationship. She begins imagining her future without you, and her actions slowly reflect that vision. You'll notice she spends more time on her phone, more time scrolling, more time messaging, more time outside the home. She creates new routines that do not include you and often exclude you intentionally. She begins saying things like, "I need more space," "I need to focus on myself," or "I don't want to feel tied down." Let me share another story. A man once told me that his partner began planning weekend trips alone. Not with friends, not for work, just alone. When he gently asked why, she said, "I just want to clear my mind." But he felt something deeper, something colder, something detached. Later, he discovered she wasn't clearing her mind. She was clearing space for another emotional connection. Her trips were not about solitude. They were about creating distance. The most painful shift is when she stops considering your feelings. Your needs no longer matter. Your opinions no longer influence her decisions. Your presence no longer excites her. She becomes emotionally self-centered, not because she's naturally selfish, but because her emotional loyalty has shifted elsewhere. Whether she has already physically cheated or is preparing to do so, the relationship becomes secondary. You become secondary. Healthy self-prioritization strengthens a relationship. Cheating-driven self-prioritization weakens it. A woman who is still committed to the relationship will include you in her personal growth. A woman who is cheating will isolate her personal growth from you. When avoidance blends with defensiveness and both blend with self-prioritization, the pattern becomes undeniable. You are no longer her emotional priority. You are no longer her confidant. You are no longer her partner in her internal world. But here is the truth most men need to hear. This is not about you being unworthy, weak, or unlovable. This is not about your failures. Cheating is rarely about the betrayed partner's inadequacy. It is often about the betrayer's internal conflicts, discomforts, unresolved issues, or emotional impulsivity. You cannot control her choices, but you can control your awareness. Awareness gives you dignity. Awareness gives you emotional protection. Awareness gives you the ability to make choices based on reality, not fantasy. Men who stay blind lose more. Than relationships, they lose years of their lives to confusion and self-doubt. Men who stay aware reclaim their power now. Before this video ends, I want every man watching, whether you're from California, New York, Cook County, Miami-Dade, Harris County, or Maricopa County, to do 3 things. First, like this video. Not just as appreciation, but to help other men recognize these signs. Many men are suffering silently, thinking their worries are irrational. Your action helps them realize they are not alone. Second, comment 1 word below. Truth, clarity. Aware anything that reflects what resonated with you. When men see other men speaking up, they stop feeling isolated. They start understanding that emotional pain is universal, that betrayal is not a personal flaw, and that awareness is a shared strength. Finally, subscribe and turn on notifications. This channel isn't just about stories. It's about giving men the tools they need to navigate emotional challenges with confidence, dignity, and wisdom. Awareness is your strongest protection. Your heart deserves clarity. Your future deserves strength. Do not ignore the signs. Protect your energy, protect your boundaries, and protect your emotional peace. I'm Coach Jane, and I'll see you in the next video.